Alright, in this video we're going to make a simple math game, and the purpose of this is to show you how to make random numbers or random things appear on the screen at random times or random locations. So that might make your game a lot more exciting, or in this case it'll make our game actually possible, our little program possible. So we're going to start off by just putting some text on the canvas, and so we'll just say what is a number plus another number, and we'll just show that at 50 comma 50, and just see what this looks like. I didn't get rid of my string. There we go. And always end with a semicolon. So play. So we should have something showing up here. So what is number plus a number? Now we want these numbers to change each time the person plays this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these numbers actually variables. So I'm going to let the first number just be called random 1, and then I'll have random 2. So let random 2. And I'm going to replace inside my text. Now this string looks, we can include the string in here with the variables. So we have what is, and then the string ends, plus our random number that we're generating. And then this is gonna look a little bit weird. We want to make this back into a string again. So this plus sign has to be part of a string, whereas this plus sign is not. This plus sign is saying that this string plus this variable needs to go together. So then I also want another string that has a plus in there. And again, this looks a little bit weird. The color coding kind of helps a bit. So we have a string plus the number that we're generating plus another string. Now I want a space in there between the number and the random number that we generate. So I put one there. And then plus my second random number. So random 2. And then again, it looks a little bit weird. Plus, I want a question mark at the end. So question mark and end that string. Now when I do this, I should see, reference to number is not defined. I didn't delete this one right there. Okay, so what is undefined plus undefined? So why it's saying it's undefined is this random 1 has no value in it, or null. So let's just put 1 to start, and just to make sure this is working, so let's say this is 1 and this is 2. Oh yeah, perfect. So what is 1 plus 2? Now if you look, if I get rid of these spaces here on this plus sign, yeah, there's no space in here. So it depends what you want. All right. Now I don't want to have these numbers every time I open the program. So like 1 is 1 plus 2. Okay, well, not every time. I don't want that. So in this function setup, and the setup happens first, I'm actually going to choose what these random numbers are. So I'm no longer going to say it's 1 to start and 2 to start, but I'll actually say random 1 is equal to, and we'll say int, so that means it's going to be an integer. Okay, so if I don't put int, it could give me a decimal like 3.142 or something. And then inside that integer function, we're going to have random. Now in here, I have two numbers I need to choose. The number I want to start with, so 0, and the number I want to end with. So in our case, I'll do 5. So now I'll just try to see if the random 1 works. And so, okay, we got 4, hit play again, we get 3. It's changing every time between 0 and 5. Now maybe I'll just get rid of this int for a second just to show you what this would look like if I didn't put this here. And you can see, like, look at that decimal. No one wants to add that. Okay, so we don't want that. So I'll put the int back. And now we need the same thing for our second random variable. So random 2 is equal to integer again, and then a random number between 0 and 5. Okay, so now they should both be changing. You can see they're changing it differently. Okay. Now, how do we get the person to answer this then? Well, we're going to have to go outside. I'm going to go outside this function draw. I'm going to do a function key pressed. key pressed. Okay, so inside of there, whenever a key is pressed, this function will run. I'm going to do an if statement in here. So if, in this case, it says 0 and 2. So we'll do that situation first. So if key is equal to, and that's going to be a double to make it so it's comparing it. So if key is equal to 2, we want something to happen. And that something might be answer is correct. Okay, so we'll put text answer is correct. Now right away we got one problem is if I hit 2 here, it should still work. But a bigger problem actually is that not only does 2 not the right answer for here, the other problem is this is changing each time. So we need to make sure that this actually changes dynamically. So as this answer changes, so should what the key number that we put into here should change. So we're going to make a variable for that. And I'm going to do at the very top, we'll say answer. So let's answer. And inside our key pressed, we can actually say what that answer is going to be. So, because at that point, it's already been generated the question. And so our answer is going to be our random number 1 plus random 2. Okay, and I didn't put an argument for this, so it should be, let's do 50, 100 for our text. Okay, so now if I hit, I didn't change this, sorry. So if the key is now equal to whatever is in the answer variable. So again, we've got our answer variable is now equal to the random 2 numbers. And now if key is equal to that answer, then we say correct. So 1 plus 0 is 1. And perfect, but nothing showed up. The reason why is this background keeps on drawing over and over and over again. So if I actually get rid of this background here, what we're going to see is that gray is gone, but also it looks a little bit fuzzy, a little bit blurry here. So we have what is 2 plus 3, but it looks blurry. And if I hit play again, you'll see it kind of happens over time. At the start, it looks okay. And the reason for that is this draw is actually happening over and over and over again. And this is where we're actually going to get rid of this function draw altogether, because I don't want that happening over and over and over again. So I'm actually going to move this to here. I'm going to move it inside the function key pressed, because this only happens when I press a key, which is kind of what we want. Now the problem is if I hit play right now, nothing's going to show up. But if I hit like a key, so now it's showing up again. Okay. But so what we need to do then is in this setup, just like when we actually put the random variables, I'm actually going to make a copy of that text and put it there. Right, so let's hit play. Now if I hit 7, we should see answer is correct. But you're actually seeing that this is getting a little bit darker already. And if I hit 7 again, it gets darker, 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 which is not what we want. So how do we fix that? Well, in my function setup, let's set the whole background up again. So background is actually at 220. So let's make sure that works. So we've got gray, we've got this 3 plus 4. Perfect. It only happens once. Function setup only happens once. This draw function, we're done with it. Now when I hit a key, so right now 3 plus 4 is 7. If I hit 7, it still gets a little bit darker each time. So that means every time I press the key, I actually need to redo this background. And order does matter. So I want the background to refresh the page first. Then I want the text to show up. And then if I actually press the right one, then I want this text to show up as well. So let's try this one more time. So 3 plus 3 is 6. And answer is correct. Now if I keep on hitting 6, you can see it doesn't get darker. And that's because when I press a key, the order goes background. So it re-wipes everything. Then I put this text in. Then we check if our answer is correct. So we're very, very close already. Now what if this answer isn't correct? We haven't done that yet. And we're going to use an else statement. Now, I'm not going to use an else if because I don't want to go through all the wrong scenarios. It's just easier to say if this is not right, then it must be wrong. So else. So if that answer is incorrect, we want something to say, something to happen as well. And I'm going to use this. No, I won't use that same text box. So we'll have text, and we'll say, "You ain't so good at math." You saw a little issue there. I don't want to deal with that right now. You ain't so good at math. Okay. And then we have to close our brackets. Oh, sorry. We need to put where we want this. So I'll put it in the same position as I put my other text. So I'll go at 50, 100. All right. Still wants me to close some brackets. And just double check I didn't make too many of these. I think I might have. There we go. Okay, so what is 4 plus 0? So it's 4. Answer is correct. Perfect. Now, what if I got that answer wrong? Let's say I hit 2. Oh, you ain't so good at math. Now, what I really like, though, is this answer is correct shows up. When I press the wrong answer, it actually wipes the whole screen away. So you see it doesn't just write over it. If I get rid of this background for a second, all right, play. So I go 2 plus 1 is 3. Answer is correct. But then I hit the wrong key, let's say 1. You can see it actually writes over itself, which isn't what we want. So we need this background wiping everything out each time we press a key. Okay, so our game is very close to being done. It would be nice if the person could play more than once. So whether they get the question right or wrong, we actually want them to make a new question. So at the very end of this if statement, sorry, not the very end, the end of the key pressed. So once it's checked if this answer key is right or not, then you want to make new numbers. So we'll do random 1. That was our variable for the first random number. Again, we want an integer of random between 0 and 5. And then random 2. Again, we want that to be an integer, so int, and a random number between 0 and 5. And you can pick whatever numbers you want between here. Okay, and now when I click a number, so 4 plus 4 is 8, answer is correct. It doesn't give me a new question though, which is a bit of a problem. So if I actually hit a new number here, so 3, oh, that was just luck. Okay, hit 3 again. Okay, quit being 3. There we go. You can see the answer only shows up after I actually hit a button again, or the question only shows up after I hit a button. So how to fix that? We got to go back in our order. This text should already be showing up from this function setup the first time around. After that, we actually want this to show up after we've picked our new questions. So this is from the function setup. So it's running right here, this text. That's all that's ran. So in the background, it's made our random integers and it's made our text. So now if I answer this, answer is 1, it's correct. So at this point, this is the order it went. It wiped the background first. Then it made the variable answer equal to random 1 plus random 2. And if key is equal to the answer, it does one thing or it does the other. It's very important that we actually wipe the background before this occurs. Okay, so this background could get moved to here. That would be fine as well. But it has to be before that if statement. If I move it on the other side of the if statement, it's not going to show up. And I can just show you that very quickly. So what is 1 plus 0? You can see nothing's happening. I am clicking buttons, but nothing's happening because the background's wiping out this text. All right, so now we've got multiple questions. I think that's enough for this video. The only other thing I want to add here is how to make a score. And we'll do that very, very quickly. So if we're going to look at our... okay, what if the answer is correct? Well, we want the score to go up. So we're going to do a score is equal to plus 1. We'll just do plus equals 1. Now there is actually another way to write this. You can do plus plus because it's only a single one as well. Now that does mean we have to go and define this variable. So we're going to let score. And we'll do 0 to start. And Now we have to do all the text for that score as well, but let's just, now if they get it wrong, we're not going to penalize them here. We'll just leave it as the same. Okay, so I'm going to go into my text. Now right away when that function starts, I want my score to show up. So text, so make it a string. So your score is, and then end that string, plus I want it to display the score variable. And that's actually it for that one. And I'll make this kind of at the top. So we'll go 0, 0. I think that'll look okay. And it didn't show up, which isn't great. Something's angry. Oh yeah, okay, so I remember why it's angry. The text isn't based off of the top, it's based off the bottom for our Y. So I actually need that to be 20, and now it's going to show up. Okay, so as soon as we have our button pressed, that text shows up. And then I need to go and put this text, I want it to write again. So after it says this new question, I'm going to put my new score. And so your score is blank. So let's just try that out. So 4 plus 3 is 7. You can see the score went up by 1 because my answer is correct. I'm going to get it wrong. I'm going to hit 0. You ain't so good at math. The score stays the same. 0 plus 4. Let's try one more time. Hey, it works. Everything's good. All right. And now if you have any other questions, please let me know.